I'm Michelle Phillips, and this is Lynn Betts from Family Resource Center on Disabilities. Family Resource Center on Disabilities is a parent training and information center, and we serve 8 counties around the Chicago metro area. And what we do is we educate parents on the educational rights of their children with disabilities. You can reach us by calling 312-939-3513. Our email is info@frcd.org. You can visit our website at www.frcd.org or follow us on Twitter at FRCDPTI. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, FRCD 1231, and like us on Facebook. So today we were just going to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. So Lynn, if you want to get us started, tell everybody about who we are and what we do, kind of how long we've been around.
Okay. Family Resource Center on Disability is a parent training information center. We actually started in 1969 with a group of parents who wanted to give voice to parents who have children with disability. In 1976, between 1976 and 1977, we became one of the pilot parent center to become a parent training information center through the Office of Special Education Program, which is the Department of Special Education Programs. What we do in our center, we do a lot of training centered around navigating the special education process, such as understanding what the individual education plan process is for parents who have students who might suspect they have students with disability and how to navigate that special education process.
So one of the things I want to back up and say is that when Lynn was talking about the pilot, there were actually 5 people that gathered around a kitchen table, and they decided to help kids with disabilities. And in that group of 5 people that started around a kitchen table, at that time it was 1969, and that actually preceded our federal law. So federal law went into effect in 1975, and this group of parents in Illinois and the state of Illinois actually preceded that law. And so this group of parents got together, some parents and some interested parties, and what they did was, what's really interesting is they actually Xerox, it wasn't called the Xerox machine back then, I can't remember what it was called, but back then they made copies, 60,000 copies, and they got all this information out to parents across the state to say, hey, your kids can now register and attend school. And so that's really how we got started. And one of the other highlights of that is the Parent Center is actually written into the law. So currently the law is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and we call it IDEA, which is partly what Lynn was talking about. Right. But in that law is actually, back in the day, 1975, Congress took a chance on parent centers. They took a chance on parents training other parents. And that was in 1975, and we were one of the first pilot centers, so we really take pride in that because we've been around since 1965. So that's good news and actually bad news. Right. Good news is, yes, we're here and we continue to help families. The bad news is, it still is a problem. It's still very difficult for families to navigate the special education system. And to be honest, it's getting more and more difficult as time goes by. And both Lynn and I are parents of children that happen to have disabilities. And I want to not scare people off by the word disabilities as well. Because sometimes parents, that may not sit well with them. So if you have a kid that's struggling in school, there might not be any diagnosis, but the child is actually struggling in school, then we're a place you can call and we can help you navigate that. So that's something else that we can help you do. So if your kid is struggling, maybe they're not getting good grades, maybe there's some behavioral issues, give us a call and we can help you navigate through that to see what's going on. Is there some other support out there that we could give you? And Lynn was talking about some of the trainings that we provide. So we provide trainings every weekend. In addition to trainings, we also have webinars. We have a wealth of information on our website and Facebook, and we're in the Facebook kind of age
Right,
for us. I
right.
know a lot of younger people
Right.
like the Snapchat and these different things, but we use Facebook a lot to get information out there. So if you're another organization and you want to share information with families, let us know. We're going to put that information on our Facebook page, on our website, anything that families could benefit from.
And can I interject?
Sure.
I'd like to say with the trainings that we have sometimes in our office and sometimes in the community, it's good for the parents when they come to the training. They can also collaborate with other parents.
Right.
They can hear the process that the parents went through and the progress that also parents have when they receive special education service for their children. So it's a good place not only to learn the law and understand how to navigate the system, it's also a good place to meet up with other parents that understand the process.
Right, and it's actually one of the best places too, I would say. I would
Yeah,
agree with
yes.
you. Because when we come to the training, not only are we learning the law, but we're learning how other parents navigated the
Right.
system. And you can know as much about the law, you know it all. But the truth is, if you cannot communicate that information
Right.
with the other people at the table, on the teams,
Right. It's-
then you're not going to have a lot of success.
Right.
Because one of the things that we do, not only are we helping you understand the laws, helping you navigate the system, but we want you to be able to communicate that information and to collaborate.
Right.
And we know personally that that's not always an easy task because, as we like to say, we don't live in Mayberry.
Right.
So that's one of the challenges that we continue to have with families, but because we've went through it ourselves, we certainly know how much better it is when we are able to collaborate. And as families, even though we have great professionals, but as families, we really do carry the responsibility on treating people, really teaching people how to treat us.
Right.
And we work a lot around that. So what are some other ways, Lynn, that we help families? I know it's endless, but...
Right. Also, information referrals. Sometimes it's not just about that special education process. There's other, I won't call it baggage, but there's other things that the family might be carrying. Maybe they might need a shelter. We might try to find numbers to shelters to help them. They might need how to figure out how to apply for food stamp. We try to refer them to the different agency that can help them. They might be looking for child care. We might can try to find daycare centers or just make an information referral for them and resources that we give out to parents as well. It's a lot of times it's a lot to just have life itself, but sometimes to have a child with a disability, it becomes sometimes really hard.
And I would say that Lynn and I both know from personal experience, as well as the families that we serve, we spend a lot of time, and I know for us it's a little bit easier because our kids are older right now, but we spend a lot of time trying to survive.
Right.
So when families call us, they call us about whatever it is they need. Sometimes they need a shoulder and somebody to vent to. Sometimes they call us because they're writing a letter and they want to read it to somebody to make sure the emotion is out of it. And sometimes it really is just those resources that they need direction. Who do I call for this? What do I need to do for this? And so we're really there to help a family navigate through whatever that means. So if you happen to be a family like ours that happens to have a child with a disability, then it's a different journey. And we like to say we're a subculture. So it's a very different journey in life. And what we try to do is be a place where people can call whatever they need. We might not have the answer right then, but we're going to find it out for you. In addition, so like Lynn was saying, we do the trainings. We do the trainings in the office and in the communities, but you out there, anybody, you can actually request a training. You can request a training in your community. The one thing we do ask is we ask for you to at least have 10 participants. That's one of the things that anybody can ask for. And you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to interject a little bit. If you're out there and you're listening to us and you have any questions or concern right now, you can give us a call at 312-738-1060 to call in to the show. Thank you.
And give us a call. So there's a lot of different ways we kind of talked about how we help parents. So we help parents with the trainings. And the trainings are so very important, but all of our parents don't get an opportunity to actually attend the training. So sometimes we're just helping a family over the phone and then providing individual assistance. So we often go into the community and meet a family, help them with their child's IEP, go over that IEP. And if you have a child that has an IEP, it's imperative. It's imperative that you read it.
Yes.
You don't have to understand it, but it's imperative that you read it, highlight what you don't understand, and then we'll help navigate you through that information. But you really need that good starting point. And so we help people with that. So we'll come into the community and help you with individual assistance. In addition to that individual assistance, our goal is not only to educate you on the law, but really to empower you. You are the one thing that is consistent in your baby's life and your soon-to-be adult's life. And we want you to feel empowered just like we have felt empowered because of the Parent Center.
And you give your child, we're giving you that voice so you can pass that voice on to your child if they, according to how the disability affect the child, if they're capable, when they're capable to advocate for themselves, right?
Which Lynn brings up a really good point.
Right.
So and we don't all do it. I have to say I didn't do it.
Right.
But I know nowadays I always encourage everybody to do it. But as we navigate the IEPs and as we attend IEP meetings, we always encourage families to have your child come into the meeting.
Yes.
It could be a 4-year-old, it could be a 5-year-old. They could say what they like about school, what they don't like about school, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be very long, but the point is that they are starting to understand that their voice matters and that somebody is listening to them, and we're starting to teach them how to self-advocate.
Right.
And I know for a lot of us, that's just not something. Back in my time, I was trying to survive myself. That's not something that I ever learned to do. Now I see, though, the benefit of so many young kids that have done it, because there's so many great self-advocates out there that we've met because of great things their parents have done.
Yep. So that's what we like to encourage parents. I'd like to also tell parents of children who's able to write and can articulate somewhat well or not well, but at least write down what their concerns are when they go into the meeting. The child can read it. I know sometimes in some IEPs, individual education plan meeting, they have the child put their statement on a PowerPoint, so something that they can relate to as using the computer, and they will read off the computer their dislikes, their strength, their own weakness, and this is the child participating in the meeting as well.
Okay. And one of the things that we would like to do is to know what you would like to hear from us here as we have the CAN TV show. So normally in the past, we've actually had other providers on and really given them an opportunity to showcase all these great different resources that are available. And today we just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, but we can continue to talk about really the process, anything that you would like to hear. So it's imperative that we hear from you. So we know that you're out there and that you're listening, and what is that you need? What can we do for you in order to make sure you're navigating the system? And we know it's not easy, and I know we sound rather pleasant today,
Right.
but that's not reality when we're often, having to deal with really serious issues. One of the things today we did bring with, in case nobody has it, which I'm sure some of you have it, is the Illinois State Parent Guide, the Illinois State Board of Education Parent Guide. So this is one thing I just wanted to highlight for everybody. It is actually on the ISBE.net website, which is the Illinois State Board of Education, their website. And if you search Special Education Guide, you'll find this. It's about 237 pages. A little overwhelming, but it's a great guide, and you don't have to read the whole 237 pages. But what we like to do is we like to make sure that you know it's available. And as we navigate with you through certain sections, then we reference certain sections of the book with you. So you can read them and really help you better even to understand the law.
And even in that book that you, Michelle, was just talking about, in the book it also has some sample letters that they can write and look at if they're trying to write letters to request a special education meeting or to request the evaluation. There's some sample letters.
There are some sample letters in there that I not a huge fan of.
Right.
So I would encourage you, they're in there and they're good, but I'm not personally a huge fan of them. So I would encourage you, if you are writing letters, requesting evaluations, or whatever letter you are writing, to give us a call.
Right.
Give us a call. We'll walk you through it, and make sure that the information you want articulated is actually articulated in that letter. And really, we're a sounding board for you. So our goal is to empower you to be your child's best advocate. We're not going to do the work for you, but what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through it and make sure you're empowered and give you all the tools you need. And we know all of us need more support at different times.
Right.
So we provide different support at different times. And so it's just important that you know we're there. And oftentimes, we find out about the Parent Center from another parent.
Right.
So if you know a family that may need our information or need to get in contact with us, give them our number. They can give us a call, because normally families find out about us word of mouth.
Right.
So it's usually from another parent that they've heard about us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So what other areas, Lynn, should we cover today with everybody?
And I just want to interject that they can come to the training as much as possible, as many times as they need and want, to get all the information they need. Because sometimes the training can have a lot of information. You can get on information overload. So we feel free to call us and schedule after schedule and sign up for those trainings. So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure.
Now, I'll say my son's 21 now. When I first started coming to the Parent Center, he was 7, and I used to come every weekend.
Yep.
Every weekend, because it was a different group of parents. Every weekend I got different information. And I needed that type of support. And for me, it was a place to have support of other people that were like me, other families that were like me. And sometimes just knowing that there's other families that are like you, as well as the things that they have to share. Because so often we're sharing information, either about our experience, things that work for us. And that was really helpful, I think.
Right. It was helpful for me and my family to meet up with other families who had children with disabilities. And then, like you say, navigating through that special education system. That was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say some time ago, over 20 years ago, but it was really still helpful, and it still is.
Yeah, definitely helpful. So we've said today what the parents can expect from us. You can expect, when you call us, that we're going to be here to really hear what you have to say, to be an ear, to help navigate you in whichever direction you're looking to go, and to make sure not only we're providing you with information on the law, but how not only information on the law, but how to communicate that information with other professionals that are dealing with our kids all day long. Right. I think personally that was a hard challenge for me. I learned through the Parent Center years ago, and I always now am amazed when I meet professionals that come to the Parent Centers. I'm always amazed. I'm like, wow, you chose this as your occupation.
Right.
This wasn't a choice that I made. This was my life. So I always get excited when we get professionals, which we get a lot of. And it's so important that families like us, as well as the professionals, that we really work together to make sure that our children are receiving the appropriate services. And that's really what our intent is, and the goal behind the Parent Center is.
Right. Right. And you know what, and I like to say, and I know I work for Family Resource Center on Disability, but I started as a parent receiving services from Family Resource Center on Disability, and actually in 1999, my children was small enough to crawl on the table. And I had yes, they was crawling all on the table, and they was all over the chairs, and they wasn't really well behaved, but the center they didn't push back. Right. They was there to give me what I needed for what I was asking for, and one of it was to help me with my middle son, and to know what IEPs was all about, know what the laws were saying about his rights, my rights, and just how to communicate as a parent. So I wanted to say I am a product of FRCD as well.
Yes, me too. I actually was known as the angry parent, though. It took me many years to recover from the angry parent, but it took me many trainings and great people helping me understand, no matter how much of the law I knew, because I knew the law, that it wasn't just knowing the law and knowing your rights. It really was knowing how to communicate with other people, and ensuring that we all have the appropriate focus of what's important, what's appropriate for that child.
Right.
And sometimes, in my experience, had been egos get in the way, and it took me a while to understand, how to get those out of the way.
Right.
And there were many pointers through the years. Some were funny and I never tried, and some I did try. But, an example of some things when you come to trainings with a lot of different parents, some things that we would hear, and some of you may have already done this, but bring a picture of your child.
Right.
Some people really like to do that. And I would bring a picture of my child, not to remind everybody else,
Right.
but to remind myself
Right.
of why I was there. And also food was another one. And my situation was I wasn't confident in bringing food because I didn't have a great relationship, but I did bring food that was pre-packaged, and it actually worked great.
Right.
So these are just examples of stories that we hear through the years, and we hear so many different parents do so many different things. And nowadays, we have parents that have make meetings and show YouTube videos. And it's not even an IEP meeting, just introduce their child. So parents have gotten so creative and coming together at the Parent Center, meeting other parents like yourself, like us. That's a great way to network as well.
Yeah. And again, I just want to say that you can contact us at 312-939-3513. And our email is info@frcd.org. You can visit our website at www.frcd.org. You can follow us on Twitter at FRCDPTI and subscribe to YouTube at FRCD1231 and like us on Facebook. And did I say we're located downtown Chicago at 11 East Adams?
We are 11 East Adams. And if you need to come in, please give us a call. Lots of times, most of our work is done in the community, so we like to meet you where you're at. We know a lot of the families that we serve have other kids, so we normally try to meet families in between picking up their kids somewhere in the neighborhood. So we do a lot of individual assistance right where you're at.
Yep, and that's true. So don't be ashamed if we need to meet you out in the community. We are good for that as well.
Oh, don't ever be ashamed. I'm not sure where that came. We are a judgment-free zone because we ourselves are parents and we have had many challenges. So we like to say we're a judgment-free zone. So feel free to call us and know that it's confidential information. We're here to help you. That's what we're in the business of doing. In the business of doing since 1969, theoretically, it would sound good if it was a different business. But for us, that's not necessarily so great. So, our goal would be one day that it wouldn't have to be like this, that we wouldn't have to be in business to help you navigate through this, but this is the world we live in right now. So we want you to remember to call us. Call us for anything. If you need some information, you're looking for something, give us a call. If you're not sure if we're the right place for you, give us a call. If your kid is struggling through school, and maybe struggling with grades, maybe struggling with behavior, but the kid maybe doesn't have an IEP or a 504 plan, give us a call. Maybe that's something that we can help you with.
And I wanted to ask a question. Are you, quickly, give us some of the highlights that we hear from parents that they might have trouble with when they are trying to navigate the special education process.
So, quickly, Lynn's asking, what are the highlights that we normally get? To be honest, a core, there's so many different things, but the core of most of the issues that we seem to have revolve around communication. So we have many different problems, but a lot of times when we learn how to communicate as a family, when we teach the professionals how to communicate with us, when we learn how to do everything in writing because conversations really didn't happen, really that changes the dynamics. And we always like to remind families of a couple key words. Appropriate. So you're going to do everything in writing. You're going to remember the key word appropriate.
Right.
And you're going to remember that the IEP and this process is based on the individual and unique needs of your child.
Right.
So we look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next week.
And again, call us at 312-939-3513 and visit our website at www.frcd.org and follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.